you guys yet, but wait, let me just double check. I might have forgot. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Second Wednesday. Fortunately, with the way this month falls, it gives you back to backs.
Yes, it's me.
So, good to have you.
Okay,
Good to have any of you.
you go ahead, Brooke, tell me your number.
2,
Yep.
752
752
07
What's up?
30
0730.
30.
You just shut up, all right?
All right, Sam.
Okay,
Thank you.
My pleasure. So good evening. Is that shared for anybody who's remote?
Susie Sharon. Yep, sure.
Awesome. So, hey, good evening. Good to be with you as the chair of the Local Options Tax Advisory Committee. So just going to give you a brief update, some of which might be review, but I got to tell you, every time I go through whatever the state provides, and they provide a lot, or what others are doing, I always pick up something new. Brooke and Tony, this might be somewhat new, but that's okay. The only questions I worry about are the ones that don't get asked. This presentation isn't so complex that feel free to stop me anytime or just stop me in general. But I just kind of wanted to hit up the high points with you on, not only what the local option tax is, but some things we've learned about the current scope that of the other towns and the numbers and a little bit of the history. What we're looking at, and what at this point, we're not looking at retail, but I don't know, we might end up revisiting that, and I'll explain why, but I need to talk to the other members tomorrow night about that. These are very preliminary numbers. A big thing we've learned, and I don't think it comes as any surprise, but I think any community really appreciates it, is that particularly with this, you want to be data and fact driven. So trust but verify everything you come upon. And I would have to say the group's being really good about that. And then there's other things we'll cover. So as if adopted, we can add a 1% tax on basically transactions, be they rooms, meals, when an alcohol beverage is served, not when you buy a six-pack. The state wants to own that part of the world. And as you can see up there, even though it's 1%, just be aware, currently we have a 9% on meals, 9% on rooms, 10% when you purchase a beverage. And then retail is as you go 6, which would give you a total of sale. Now, we have learned that Amazon and some of the other providers, now that they have figured out, or the state of Vermont probably figured out with them, you need to charge sales tax at the point of when you hit purchase. They keep a database of zip codes, and if your town has retail, you'll get your 1%, and that'll be sent to the state by Amazon or whatever other vendor you're purchasing from. But a little bit more about that. So that's a little bit about what it's about. Do keep in mind, from what we've learned, and this probably doesn't come as any surprise, but it's interesting. Some towns, such as our neighbors, Morrisville and Stowe, are all in. They have rooms, meals, alcohol, and retail. I think that because they see they have the economic base. And Morrisville, with the research they did, because they're doing all 4, they project they'll bring in 1.2 million. Stowe brings in over 2 million, and you may have seen Stowe's actually gone to the legislature to get it up another percentage point, which you can do if you so choose. But
Sorry, Stowe was what, 2?
Stowe is at 2, but think about their economic
Well, they're
base.
not, but they're going for 2.
They're
No,
going for
2 million in round.
Oh, yeah. So they bring in a serious chunk of change by going the full slate. And that's just a reference point. In our economic base here, if we just did meals, rooms, and alcohol based on the 24 receipts, we would bring in a total of 234, 327, of which 175, 70, 45 would be returned to us. Interestingly enough, do keep in mind, it was on that first slide, and I'll make sure you get a copy of it. The 25% just doesn't go into a dark bureaucratic hole. The 25% actually goes into the payment in lieu of taxes fund, which is actually operating in a surplus right now. And there's a discussion of what they really want to do with that fund. So, as more towns get on board with this, that fund will obviously grow. And if I read the numbers right, right now, because it's based on, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's obviously based on, because you can't collect a tax on that parcel, it's on buildings, and we get like 35,000.
75.
Is it 75?
We got last year 70s, almost 77.
So, but they're thinking how they might, what else they could do with that. But that's what I learned on Monday, at the legislative breakfast. So that's just kind of a we'll see. Currently, you've got 59 municipalities of July of 25. 10 more just approved it. So we're up to 69 municipalities. And which is just an interesting factoid, because just of January 24, there were only 23. So you can see there's some serious growth.
How many municipalities are there?
251.
Okay.
Is it 251 or 252?
Well, that's up for debate.
Essex
Right,
Village, right? Or
You're right.
Essex Village.
Right.
Can I
But-
ask a clarifying question?
Sure,
The rooms tax, does that include short-term rentals?
it does.
Okay.
Yep. Great question. So that just gives you some perspective of how this seems to be getting some momentum. But again, this will be ultimately up to the voters in Cambridge. So if you go to the next slide, Eric, or there's your chart preliminary. We'd like to go back on this and just tease at it some more. I think we're pretty good with those numbers. They seem to fit for us if it's just meals, rooms, and alcohol. Now, of course, that includes smugglers and our visitors that come in through there. It includes your Airbnb, and it even includes a certain percentage of us if you go grab a meal and have a beverage over at the tavern or wherever, so we drive some of that economic activity as well. But seem reasonable, but I think we got a little more work to do to share with you.
Okay, so it's looking like the last few years, it's been
Going up.
150, 160, 170 in
Yeah.
that range. Yeah.
Yeah, and that is a trend we see in other towns. I think just economic growth, cost of
Things going up.
and so forth, but it does, we have seen as we've looked at other towns trending upwards. And again, this does not include retail, but more about that in a bit.
Okay.
We have done a SWOT analysis, where as a group, and I'll make sure this gets in our folder. But we looked at the strengths, we looked at the weaknesses, we looked at the opportunities. And this is by no means an all-inclusive list, but as a group, we kind of did this in a very classic, low-tech way. We put up basically flip chart paper, we had sticky pads, we jot down our thoughts, we put together the things that were alike, but it also identified some diverse thinking amongst the group. But by no means an all-inclusive list, but the strengths is it does capture visitor spending. And that includes, could be a visitor who's coming through town from, out of state, out of country, but clearly it includes visitors who come to town who, are just coming here for the farmer's market or whatever, and they could just be just down the road at Underhill. So visitor is both in-state and out-of-state. Low admin burden. I mean, for both us, you as a municipality, and really our businesses too, because they gotta send in state tax. So according to Bruce, Now they do have to e-file, which most people in the state do. If they don't e-file, that lot will not be captured, but we think that's gotta be like somebody who's really got a home-based business of some kind. And basically, they gotta send their sales tax in anyway, so state collects it up. They do what they need to do. I can't speak when a check would come to you, but, they really do take care of the collection and disbursement. It does obviously diversify your municipal revenue stream. Now, for us, we would need to probably factor in a bit of a seasonal and variable revenue to it. But what we've seen is it's kind of the end result. That's just more of FYI. We have, we're anticipating, although we haven't talked to the businesses yet, that's the plan, there is concern. Interestingly enough, in talking with Leanne Hullenberger over in Morrisville, businesses actually came to them and expressed concern. Businesses have found there was no concern to be had. They haven't seen any change in consumer spending. They haven't seen any change in their gross receipts. Sort of the anecdotal thing you hear is, by golly, I'm going to buy my screws down the road. That's not really happening. And research that we have found also bears this out throughout Vermont. That, people are like, 1% on the dollar. It's like nowadays it's not even worth the gas to go down to Johnson. So, but anyway, we are respecting the fact that that's probably out there. So that'll be a piece of our work. If you go back to the strengths, just real quick, I'll keep it moving. Now, the opportunity, and this is critical, and Cody, we're going to be working. We got a lot of work ahead of us, because what we have learned is the way these get passed is not only through transparency and doing all what we're doing here, is just provide good data-driven education and communication and leave it at that.
Yep.
You guys we don't have to be out there pitching it like this is the best thing since sliced bread. Just get the data out there,
Right.
Communicate it clearly, and things will take care of themselves one way or another. It does create a flexible funding stream because the law is pretty well written. It is clear from a state recommendation, have a clear target or targets for the monies. They do suggest it's not there to just go into a general fund and somehow go so,
Right.
be very, and make sure there's community agreement to that. Could mitigate taking on large debt or bond. We have seen other towns doing that. For example, Morrisville, now mind you, they're getting a bigger chunk than us, but they've got a big road project up there in the tune of Leah was saying, for infrastructure for 660, 600, north of $600,000. They're seeing we won't have to bond for that. They're really seeing that this will help with that. Public opposition, we know that. Some of our research has already seen that. We're aware of one Chittenden County town that I think the select board, their hearts were in it. They did their research. They probably warned it on an agenda. All of a sudden it appeared at town meeting and people went, what, well, local options tax? What? And you know how, people don't always track, and it went down. So, but I think we are being good about, trying to be clear, or will continue to be clear as we roll forward. Transparency. And then, again, the outreach is key. So we want to be, those are, when I say update, some of these things are works in progress that we will be addressing as we get into more outreach. Go on to the next, Eric. I'll just keep it going here. Thank you. Yeah. So, I've chatted about this already. The town, meaning residents included, will decide how to apply the revenue. I think one thing we've been talking about already, we already have a model with that. Think about how people got so engaged with how the ARPA funds got expended. So there seems to be an appetite in town when we have these revenues about giving input and being part of that. Again, best practice, agree on designated needs. Now, we are seeing a lot to put it to your capital improvements and infrastructure or large equipment vehicle purchases, or, a combination, one thing we've batted around, or I've even said, we haven't come to a recommendation on this for you. But wouldn't it be, Cambridge Cares kind of runs on a thread about if they had like $30,000, think of how that could really assist them. So, we're seeing different uses of it, but the people come to a common agreement, or at least have the opportunity to weigh in. Which leads me to one thing I left out. One thing we've learned too, if there's not already a policy about this, if this passes, one will be needed. And as you guys know with policy, you want to make it clear enough so people understand that's how the funds are going to be used, but not box you in either. You may find, geez, something comes along, this would be a great use of these funds if it passes, that just wasn't thought of at the time. So just a little placeholder policy will be needed for this if it passes. So for next steps, and I'll wrap up and take questions and so forth, we continue to review what other towns have done. I met with Leah Hollenberg yesterday and had a great discussion about how they ramped up for it, how they delivered the message to their voters, and why they think it passed. But the real takeaway is they really did a great job, and they actually hired Jeff Carr, and I'm going to suggest to the group tomorrow night that we might want to consider that. Jeff Carr's one of our state economists. He does run his own business, and he really dug deep for Morrisville. Although there might be an expense with that, it really gave them good data and fact to present to the voters. They didn't give his report because it was truly, when you read it, he's an economist. But they gleaned what was of value for people, so they really understood what they were voting for, yay or nay, and what the impacts would be in terms of the financial, and what the impacts would be for the visitor community as compared to the residential community. Anyway, so more about that. We are going to look at doing a community survey, both for our residents and for local business input. You've heard me talk about the importance of the outreach. So Cody, we're going to be busy with this, I can tell you, because something we talked about, do we want to really move this? So possibly a special meeting could be warned in the fall, where it could be an evening meeting where you'd probably get a more diverse turnout, maybe before daylight savings and before the snowbirds leave. Or do you just, I think at this point, we'd like to be done with our work by June, but we don't want to rush it either on you. So, the big thing will be the community meetings. One thing we picked up on, and this is what Morrisville did, if you think it would work, we don't have to do what everybody did. It's just something to ponder. Just think about what they did is they warned on their select board meetings. Tonight, we're going to talk about just the retail. And then another meeting, now I don't know if we need to slow roll it. The next was rooms, the next was meals and so forth. And and even Leah was saying, even when somebody took it somewhere else, they said, no, tonight we're just talking rooms. They found although they didn't get a huge turnout, those who came, so but we could also do community meetings separately. There's, that can be managed one way or another. The community meeting might also be defined as letting people know we'll be at the library with information, stop on by and have a cup of coffee and let's chat. They did that too, and that proved useful, even with people who were most resistant came, kind of heard them out. And she said, I wasn't there to win them over, but when they kind of thought it through, they saw the purpose and what could be gained from it. So, I just want to hit, go jump one ahead. If you would, you'll get the copy of this. If you haven't done so, I would encourage you to go to these links here. The state's done a very nice job to put very good and easy to digest information about the local options tax. We're pretty much following the scripts. We collectively serving as your AC, how to adopt. This is a very interesting document because, you know, there is what is currently exempt if we went with retail, stays exempt. So there doesn't, and so forth. So that's a great document. Town of Marshfield devoted a whole web page with their information, just something to check out, worthwhile. And then, because we know you want another meeting, right, Brooke?
That's right.
And so forth. You can just keep tabs on what we're doing by going to our documents folder and seeing our minutes and documents and all that good stuff. So, Eric, do you wanna, I can email this to the select board, it'd be simpler.
You sent this as my email already, right?
Yep.
So I can share it.
So that's, all of this is work in progress. None of this is meant to say I think we're there yet. We have some more research to do, and clearly outreach is really the main focal point, I think, over the next few months. Well, that's where we're at.
Okay, before I turn it over to questions from
Sure.
the board, I see Jamie, you're on.
Yeah,
Do
Jamie?
you have anything you wanna add to what Sam already told
Okay.
us?
No, Sam, thank you for the very thorough summary and update. I think you did a great job. I will just say that the Morristown website is top notch and definitely
Woo-hoo.
one to check out.
They did a nice job. And I've said this, but one reason why it's top notch is it's just information. Here it is. They're not trying to get on there. We gotta do this, guys, because if we don't, we won't be able to do the town project they want to do. It's just, here it is.
Yeah.
So,
I like that.
but they have very well vetted and very useful information for people to easily digest. So.
Select board questions? Public questions?
That's my one question, so.
Sure.
Well, I will leave that one thing we've learned, and I won't hold you up. Every town's a little bit different with their economic base. Even Leah and I and Jamie, we've talked about this. Our revenue streams with our visitors more are rooms, meals, and alcoholic beverages. That's a real, when you think about the money that passes through. Retail though, Jamie, I'll talk about this tonight. It's probably worth looking at the numbers simply because with the new owners of the smugglers, they're probably gonna get a boost in the amount of people coming up. They do have quite a point of sale with their shops. I've even been in, and I want to talk to Robbie about this. He is really doing very well with Triple Diamond. Of course, we have Aubuchon's and the others. So I think it'd be worthwhile to at least look at the numbers. But then you got to look at all of this. What's the appetite?
Yeah.
And then one thing we've learned, but it's gone back and forth as you're pondering this, some towns, and we'll be doing it by voice. So I want all separate articles, or some are bundled. So, but we'll worry about that if you guys decide
So,
you want to proceed on.
so are you going to look into a retail?
I
or
think we
just keep-
should.
Okay.
I think it's at least worth a look, if just for no other reason. At least we've asked the question, we've looked at it, talked to a few businesses around town. I mean, I'm not trying to invalidate anybody's concern, but it's really pennies on a dollar. And again, it hasn't dissuaded consumer behavior. We might actually pick up on it because you think in a rural community, how much shopping is actually done over the internet. So that's where the number might really lie. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I think it's worth looking into it at least.
And I agree.
Yeah.
I think my initial thought when we started all this was I personally, at least initially, didn't have the appetite for it because I looked at rooms meals and alcohol as kind of, let's say extras, but like, you know, excess spending, right? That there wasn't, it's prepared meals. It's not, milk and eggs at the grocery store.
Nope, not at all.
It's truly going out
I
to
mean,
eat at the restaurant or getting a sandwich at the store, right?
Yeah.
Would be,
Yeah.
so it's not, if anybody was financially strapped and concerned, at least it's kind of more geared toward the, some not food necessities or something like that.
Right.
Like residents in town aren't necessarily paying for lodging here in town as they already live here. My thought was visitors coming in would be the ones contributing to that mostly, and also rooms, or I'm sorry, meals and alcohol. Retail was kind of that one. We all do. I mean, I shop here in town. I'm sure most everyone else does too. So it's kind of that gray area, but it probably is worth just knowing like, what is that number?
Yeah, what's the number?
And
Just
if
so,
if it's significant and maybe it's, something to consider, but I do like the voting, at least initially, voting them separate, because if there's more appetite for, let's say, alcohol as opposed to meals and rooms,
Yeah.
that might be something to consider.
and I will say that seems to be the practice we've seen how towns have gone through with it, because how it is, you do bundle something, you put people kind of in an all or nothing situation.
Yeah,
It may expedite particularly a meeting that's on a voice vote, and then they can amend and do
Yeah.
different things, but that you're not at that decision point yet.
no, one question I don't think you guys need to look into, and I'm happy to do it myself, is I'm more curious if this did go through, what is the payments back from the state like? Do they do it quarterly, once a year, or how
Yeah.
that?
We can look
Quarterly?
in, is it quarterly?
Okay.
So here's some, and I just do want to wrap, I know you have other business. One reason why we're shooting for June to return our recommendations, that might go a little bit later. Here's an interesting little factoid. So let's just say the town approved whatever they did in, just for easy math, October. There's a 90-day wait, and then it doesn't go in until the next quarter. One reason, and it's not a reason there's a number, I think, of good reasons personally to take it as a special meeting, but that's another discussion. I'm just saying, one reason why that kind of lines up is you're gonna hit the Q1 of 27 during a nice winter season, during a period of nice economic activity. Also a period where you're kind of working in the rears with the budget, but you wouldn't see that payment until the end of Q1 anyway. Now, I'm just saying
Yeah.
that by getting it done in the fall, you line up for a period of good economic activity to start at 27, but that's not the only reason.
Yeah.
But food for thought, but you will, no matter when we vote it in. Like everybody who did March meeting, they've got to sit tight before they can start collecting March, April, May, so they won't start collecting until July. Just to give you, that it just is. Well, thanks, guys.
Awesome.
I'll see you tomorrow night, Cody.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
Well,
It's a good
we'll
fun.
see. I won't count my chickens till they're late, but.
Always remote again. Oh, thank you, Eric.
Yeah, thanks.
Hey, thank you.
I have one other question.
Sure.
So does the town have the option of collecting a portion of that 1%? Like say 5.5% in a certain category? Is it 0
Yeah.
or 1?
I think it's 0 or 1.
Okay.
The state wants a little level of consistency with this.
Yeah.
The good news is, though, I will put one thing on. One reason why it would have been even more challenging to do it is they did get rid of towns having to have a charter, which knowledge. We have plenty of documentation of who and what we are, and it's not unusual. We don't have a charter. Morrisville didn't have a charter either. And they said, look, that has nothing to do with this. So that's, I think, why more towns are coming into it as well.
I think more towns are also having the same questions and thoughts that we're also having, so.
And I don't want to hold you up. I will leave you with one thing why we want to continue to vet the numbers is things we've read since, let's just say we're dealing with the 175. You guys know how how much that can impact the budget. You don't want to oversell
Right.
that somehow we're going to reduce the tax rate. Because 175 is not going to take a 5% down to a 2%. Now, it may help with a capital reserve fund, which may help buying a big piece of equipment and not having to bond for it down the road.
Awesome.
There.
Thank you very
Oh,
much.
yeah.
Thanks, Sam.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Jim, and Tim. Okay, so we can move on to generator, right? Is that the next item?
Yep.
So if you remember last fall, John came in, had some generator issues. We were able to repair those issues, but new ones have come to the surface. We had, this gentleman from Vermont Independent Power, his name was Ethan. He came highly recommended, and while he was there for that 30 or 45 minutes, the diagnosis changed several times with what the generator was and was not doing. So there's some gremlins mostly within the automated auto start. So there's a transfer switch, so when the power goes out, it automatically runs. The electrical demons are in that system, and like Ethan explained, chasing is hard to diagnose something when the problem doesn't persist. It's a moving target.
Mm.
So he said he would essentially be throwing parts at it until he got it narrowed down. And he goes, by the time you put even the first two parts he would put into it, you're gonna have 25% of the cost of a new generator. So we are here today to discuss replacing the rescue swellage generator. Reached out to several. I only included two in the packet that were the most competitive. One was from Ethan from Vermont Independent Power, and the other is from Brookfield Services. I will give you the condensed version. Vermont Independent Power laid it out very nicely. Cost of the generator, labor, warranty, and extended warranty. There's a lot of options in the Brookfield quote that are included within the Vermont Independent Powers quote that are not an extra. So, Brookfield starts base price is even above Vermont Independent Power. So, given the level of knowledge that I saw with Ethan from Vermont Independent Power, his attention to detail, he's local, to the area within reason. I think he's from Craftsbury. I recommend we go forward with his proposal. It replaces the generator, the automatic transfer switch. He brings all the electrical components that are not to code up to code, which after the meeting, there was actually quite a long list of electrical violations. And
Sorry, regarding in the building,
in the building, the way the current system is set up.
the current generator system or beyond that?
Generator system,
Okay,
everything he was able to,
Is that all downstairs in that boxed in area?
yes, and it's not supposed to be, the transfer switch goes outside. So, he's gonna relocate the transfer switch and all the wiring
for this number.
for this number,
And I didn't do the math, but does it include the extended warranty, the 400 and?
yes.
It's
435. So the extended warranty, again, it brings us to 10 years, it's stackable with the promotional extended warranty. 10 years is about half the life of the generator, so gets us a fair amount of time into the investment. And is actually a little bit larger, a generator now to support heat pumps or whatever the case might be, for electrical demand that have increased over the last 23 years. That the other one, since the other one was replaced,
How old is this one?
23.
Wow.
Yeah,
Was that when the building was done, done,
I don't know.
2003? Sounds about,
To be, yeah. Yes, it would be.
2003 was
Wow.
the date on that,
right.
so.
I just won't.
um, The old generator can be used on another town property. It probably will not have the automatic features, but it could be manually operated. And I'm sure you know where I'm headed with this, but I think the highway department could utilize a manual. They can go out and push the button as opposed to it automatically coming on. Might be a decent way to utilize that instead of scrapping it. Otherwise, we have a generator. Something with.
What is that, when does that run off of, the old one?
They both want to run.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, Angela?
I'm just curious. That building is staffed 24/7.
Yep.
Why can't they go out and push the button if they see the power's out?
I think the best way I could explain that is they are really good at saving lives and they don't know how
Oh,
to.
come on.
It's not,
But I mean, the ATS is not anything special, like I have one at my house too.
Yeah.
Well, no, I take that back, I don't. We were supposed to.
What are you?
No, so when your power goes out
Yes,
and you're sleeping in bed or whatever,
yes,
it just kicks on automatically.
sure.
Yeah.
That's what that extra 13,000's for. But if we didn't have an extra 13,000, you realize your power is out. Maybe not at 2 AM, but by 5 AM, and you go hit the button.
But I think
what if it doesn't start? And
the
then what
issue is just the
Start.
switch.
is it
it's
just the pushing the
generator.
button? I'm being
Tones go
oversimplistic.
out.
No, that's good. I
Yeah.
like it.
Tones go out for a life-saving emergency that needs to happen. Time is of the essence.
You can't open the
Whether
garage
it's-
door.
Whether it's the fire department or it's the rescue squad.
So they aren't gonna
Yeah.
wake up
They need-
because they don't hear the
No, I'm
tone.
not saying that. The
No,
tone's
but the
gotta come out.
ambulance is plugged
Now
in.
the ambulance is in, yeah, it's in
It's in the
the
garage
garage.
door.
Let's put a scenario out there. Someone hits a power pole,
Okay,
a vehicle versus power pole.
Yep.
Power goes out in the village.
Yep.
First person to be toned out is gonna be rescued.
okay,
They can't get out of the building. They have to go out and try to start the generator. Say it's 10 degrees below zero.
okay,
Generator needs to be manually choked.
okay,
So you gotta go find the carburetor or the injection, which happened when we were doing this.
okay.
And then someone has to push the start button and you kind of have to have a little bit of mechanical knowledge on getting things running. And then you have to go downstairs and throw. The automatic transfer switch is supposed to start, but you know, there's all kinds of nuances with, manual such systems. Meanwhile, ambulance is stuck inside. They have to have the ambulance plugged in to maintain their life support systems and their medications and.
Yes and no. They have to be charged. They don't have to be constantly plugged in.
Right, but you know what I'm saying?
Because when they're on the road, they're not being plugged in
But they're being
I mean,
charged.
charge off the bit.
from the battery of the,
The unit of the ambulance.
well, you
itself.
just go start that machine up every few hours.
Mm.
No, I just think,
I know.
all right,
I hear what you're saying, Angela, I do. We tried, right? We
We-
talked about this a few months ago.
we got 6 months out of it.
We
Yeah.
tried to
Went and-
do the
Yeah.
right thing here and it didn't work out.
Right.
And it was probably a stretch to ask that much of a 20-plus-year-old generator that's probably hasn't really run ever. Or,
It only has 300 hours on it because it hasn't done its automatic thing in so long
Mm,
that it just has, there's been so many people that didn't even know how it worked.
Yeah.
Sure,
yeah, that is also a real thing with turnover. I mean, not just there, but
Yeah.
anywhere that
sure.
new people in and out.
Yeah.
It can be part of an orientation.
And it has been doing its weekly cycle up until this happened.
Okay, recently.
We had where it started all of this is there was a quick outage from a wind. The power went out for 30 seconds.
Oh.
And then the power came back on, the generator had fired. And the transfer switch. There was a lag in the transfer switch and power crossed somewhere in there and it ended up burning up a breaker in the building.
Well,
Because the generator wasn't doing the right thing at the right time
Right,
and, yeah, so. We got lucky there, but. It's the one building or two buildings in town that I think. You need to, make sure that it operates at its fullest extent. And we're not giving up a generator. It's something the highway actually needs to have something there that
they could use
we
it.
can utilize it. I don't think we'll get 3 more years out of it. We probably maybe get, we get 10, I think we'd be doing well. But, I think it's a good investment.
And I would, if we vote to approve this, I would suggest we take it out of the town building fund, because it's really, there's no budget for it, and
No, there's no,
that's the only reasonable place I think we could take it from. Any other questions, thoughts? Things?
Just,
I guess
just for you to know.
there'd be a motion in order to accept the proposal from Vermont Independent Power LLC in the amount of $13,085, which includes the extended warranty. Which which includes the extended warranty. Would there be somebody who would want to make, and paying for that out of the town building fund? Would there somebody who'd like to make that motion?
So moved.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Discussion.
Correct. Yeah. And so that's there. What is?
The difference.
No discussion on this answer.
Okay. So it looks like it comes with a free 7-year warranty, and then for $435, it'd be extended another 3 years. So I don't know, I think that's worth it for something like this, but anything else? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed,
Nay,
abstained. Motion carries 4-1. Thank you. Welcome sign,
no, business part.
business part. I'm not getting this wrong. So if, I forget if I told you guys this or not, so pardon if I've said this before. So I asked Mumley Engineering last year. Mumley did, the design for the, lot 3, I think it is, or lot 5, I can never remember which one, at the business park, the site plan and permitting. And so I asked them as part of that to just do basically a concept proposal, for free, mind you. To what it would take to look into adding housing at the rest of the business park and some of the remaining lands that exist there, kind of adjacent between Route 15 and the existing park there. So they gave us a proposal in August of last year. We used that proposal to apply for the grant, the master planning grant, which we didn't get.
Right.
What I wanted to propose to you all, if we wanted to apply for that grant or a similar grant, the town investing some of its own money and resources to advance like a scoping study or something, if you will, to look into it a little bit. And if that proves fruitful or proves possible through a little bit of town investment, it might look better on an application for further funding, for further research and scoping and development. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Eric, that was one of the knocks against us, was that this was very, very preliminary and nothing really had been shown to prove that it's even possible.
That was the primary reason we did that grant.
So their proposal was laid out in a couple different steps, bless you. In the first step was what they called the site investigation / concept layout. And for $5,000, $5,000 budget, they would walk the site, determine kind of the lay of the land and where, what physical constraints were on the property for development. they'd conduct some soil testing to determine if, you know, what the wastewater capacity could be on that, on the site. And then draft one or more concepts for the town, just as an initial review. One of the things he didn't say, or in his proposal, would be also to check like the NR Atlas for, you know, wetlands, deer yards, you know, any of the kind of the trigger areas that, might be prohibitive. Environmental, yes, concerns, and kind of, you know, add that into the, you know, at least initial analysis. It's really like a 10,000 foot view to see if it's even feasible. You know, there could be a number of red flags that they find that may just stop it dead in its tracks.
Are they bringing us something in to drill some test pits for water?
Well, they would probably use a mini excavator and go in and dig some holes. And what they would do likely is, you know, there's lots of different restrictions on where wastewater, you know, leach fields can go.
Yes,
So they'll look at like what, you know, existing wells, you know, they
Yes.
gotta be so many feet from that, roads, other infrastructure. So what they do is they kind of plot those limits on the parcel, like on a map.
Yep.
And then they can say, okay, well, it can't go here, here, here.
yes.
So this leaves this area open, and then kind of do a spread, you know, whatever, however that area is, at least do a few. I don't, they didn't really say how many, but do a couple spots, 3, 4, and get an idea, at least what potential capacity could be. And that's really the main limiting factor on any development, would be wastewater treatment. Aside for other environmental restrictions, wetlands, deer yards.
And there's no negotiation over their price?
It's a budget. It's, the way a lot of these engineering firms work is, either they can do a fixed fee.
Mhm.
I know they don't like to, because of, depending on what they may or may not find, may require more or less investigation. So gives them a little bit of flexibility there. I would honestly argue 5,000 is quite inexpensive for this. Just even a day with a small excavator is probably, $1,500. At least 1,000 anyways.
Yeah.
Plus the engineer's time would be easily another 1,000 in the reports and stuff. So half of it, I would say, is at least just doing those test bits. And then the rest would be doing some drafting and stuff like that. I mean, most engineering firms charge somewhere between 100, $150 an hour for an engineer. So I think it's fairly reasonable. Step 2 would be a little bit more in the design phase and detail phase, which would be another 20,000 beyond that. And that's really the phase I was hoping for the grant
Right,
for
I
there.
remember.
So, but, if you all want to entertain this, I was gonna propose, so we have a fund. It's the, if I can find it here, Cambridge Business Park account. There's $20,000 roughly, just under 20,000 in there. My understanding is a lot of that revenue came from logging that was done, I'm not sure how many years ago.
I know.
And what I talked to Woody is our town forester, right? Or tree warden. I talked to him about last year about going out there and walking it again, because it's might be time to do another thinning. Just essentially a bank account there sitting there in lumber, and maybe it's worth another go at it and generate some more revenue to cover some of these costs. So, and if there's ever development in there anyways, it would require cutting more trees regardless. So, I do plan, I haven't scheduled it with him, but I do plan to, before the leaves pop out here in the spring, I would like to walk that with him and just kind of look around and see what there would be for potential for next winter to put out an RFP to do some logging. So my hope would be that whatever revenue is generated there would cover this and maybe future engineering if it's deemed necessary. Now, obviously, it comes with a risk that they find it's just a dead stop, like there's some
It's not perfect.
rare
Yeah.
species of, wild lettuce or something that's growing there. And, it's just not fiscally responsible. So it is a bit of a gamble, yes. I have done a bunch of research on the land, looked at the ANR atlas, looked at a bunch of this stuff. I haven't really seen any red flags, you know, on a kind of a global look. It's not necessarily an easy site to build on.
Because of,
Well, there's, you know, it's gently sloping down. The good news is it's on Route 15.
mm,
The state highway the state highway access offers lots of benefits.
mhm.
You know, power is right there. I believe that the new fiber, it goes up through there, I believe. I think it has. So there are some benefits, and it's land we already own, the town owns. So there's no,
So in your mind, the end game of this $5,000 scope and then a $20,000 second plan would be, we would get lots,
you know,
housing building lots.
correct.
Okay, and.
How we, so let's just say, so this works, right?
Yeah,
The
yeah,
next step would be, okay, it seems feasible.
Yep.
So it deserves a deeper dive.
Yep.
Now, you know, we have lots of options, whether it's, okay, we generate, I don't know, $20,000 worth of forestry, you know, lumber, trees, whatever.
Yep.
And, okay, that could pay for itself. It's worth the next step and getting that a little bit further advanced. Or we apply for a grant, we can
Yep.
pay for that, or we just pay for it ourselves because we see the potential value. At some point, what I would like to do is, once it's like a little bit more real, like we got some really good sense of what this could be,
Mm.
you know, potential for number of houses, number of bedrooms, you know, a general idea of infrastructure. I think it would be worth bringing on a developer. And that could look a lot of different ways. There's things called public-private partnerships, which would be, you know, obviously we'd be the public and we'd bring on a private person and we create a partnership to co-develop it. And really what that would be is the developer would bring in the finances. You know, we have the land, that has value. They bring in the finances to start the development process. And obviously there would be a fee or interest, or there'd be something for them in gain. However, the gain we get is we don't necessarily have to put out extra money up front. We end up with properties that are taxable in the long run. And, you know, whatever that agreement might be, I don't know.
sure,
A town in Dorset is working in that model right now. Town land, they spent a bunch of money, they got a bunch of grants to develop this lot. I think a private somebody had started the project and then donated the lot to the town. And so they already had a started project, so they were a little bit more into it. But they have a developer that they brought on board through an RFP process. They put it out to bid. Someone proposed, and now they're working with that developer to, you know, work on this project for them. So I talked to the town manager, town administrator, I'm not sure what he was. And, you know, he was very informative, gave me lots of good info on
Yep.
how they chose to go about it.
Yep.
And Jim Barlow, I think, was the one who connected me with him. And then he said there's several other towns. I think Marguerite at VLCT gave me some other contacts. There's this program. I wish I could attend this training tomorrow. The CHIP program that the state's doing. I forget what CHIP stands for.
I don't know.
Something Housing Initiative Program or something.
Yeah,
But there's a training, and like literally the second step in this is that program.
okay.
So if we could at least start it and find that there's potential here, I think there is opportunities for getting some grant money to get that next step.
Let's pretend that it's viable, it's workable, we can get X number of lots out of it. Would we ever just say, as a town, we're done here, now we have some sellable land? And we don't do any development, we just get a realtor to handle it from that point and say, this is what we've invested in it, we need to recoup our investment and some. Or one option, or we have some senior housing issues. Could we support that? Like, would we think outside a box?
For sure, lots of options. You it would, at some point, would involve the town applying for a subdivision application with the TRB to subdivide that. And so we would have to follow
If we
those rules,
subdivided.
yeah, depending on the size.
How many acres is this?
The whole parcel is 125,
Ooh,
but that includes the landfill, which is a big chunk. That includes,
And that's not all open. What's open?
I mean, I would say there's at least 20 or 30 acres in that kind of that corner
That's what I
between the fire pond and, you know, Route 15 and the western border. I would say easy, but where was I going? with
but
that?
not 120 acres.
No. That's the total parcel, but it also includes the two business park lots that are still on the town's payroll or tax roll. The other thing to consider is, and whether this is a sign of the times or what, the two commercial lots are still sitting there undeveloped and they're raw land. So there's, I think, I don't struggle with this because it's what I do for a living. I can look at a piece of raw land and I could see the potential. I can see how we could construct it. I can see all that. Not a lot of people have that ability.
Mhm.
So they look at a chunk of raw land that's got trees on it and say, I'm not willing to tackle that.
Yeah, it's too
That's
big a
too much
project.
for me.
Mhm.
So there may be strategies in that process. That if you've got a road, you've got a lot of the plans are there. Now you just gotta build a house on it. That might be more palatable for individuals.
Oh, yeah, if you got a building site all right in front of you,
Yeah.
people then do have a different vision than a forested lot. Yeah,
And the other piece is depending on how big this ever is, right, is Act 250. And that would be a whole another ball of wax there as well. So, but the chip, I don't think this actually tells me what chip stands for.
6 or more lots is actually 50.
Is it 6 or is it 5? Oh,
I believe.
Oh,
but in 5 years.
Yes.
Community Housing Infrastructure Program. And there's a training tomorrow in the middle of the day, like they always are. But basically the session for tomorrow is project readiness and pre-development workflows. And what they're gonna talk about is what pre-development is and why it matters. So this $5,000.
yeah,
How to identify and screen potential chip eligible projects, key roles and responsibilities for the municipality's team. What data analysis and documentation are needed in the early stages, how to evaluate financial feasibility and understanding project funding gaps, and the requirements for defining a project area for compliance and community engagement. I mean, I would definitely encourage if anybody is
what's the
available.
time frame on that?
It's tomorrow from 10 to 12,
Okay,
and it is free. You have to register through the VLCT.
Mhm.
Do you all get those emails from VLCT?
I do.
Okay, I was gonna say, I get bombarded with these all the time. I hope you all
There's a
are.
lot
with me.
more, lot more land there than I thought, Cody, actually, and I can't. I
I'm
can't
just
see
going off
how much,
rough
but-
memory too, but
But it's all this, there's Route 15 in the park. Road in, it's all that area there. This guy is the one we're gonna be careful with. Borders up against, but
no, you don't have to worry about me. You gotta worry about the other half.
the other half of it, no,
Oh.
but this is the landfill. Area that, there's, obviously there's areas of this can't do anything
Where's the
with,
landfill?
right?
That thing you
There's
just
the
showed
top
me.
of it right there.
Ah,
And all the solar panels up on top of what the other used to be. So yes, I think there's potential for some stuff in there, for sure.
I'm gonna try to attend this. I think I can swing it.
why don't you just buy that lot from the town? Borders, you can bumps right up against it.
Got enough irons in my
Here.
fire.
Call this number.
There's a better chance of me buying it. I can tell you that much for free.
You could, it's like a win-win, really.
I don't, questions, thoughts, opinions. Crazy? Am I crazy?
No,
I might be crazy.
I wouldn't say you're crazy.
I'm definitely, I think it's a dream.
It is a dream.
I think for the relatively low investment to just see what the potential is. I think the worst case scenario is we still own the land. There's still timber there. I've walked it a few times. Like there's a lot of big wood in there. And I'm confident that, I don't know, I've never really walked land with a forester. What do you tell me? But sure, tell me more than I ever need to know. But, I'm not sure what he looks at, but I see, I mean, there's some pine in there that are massive, big as a table, huge. So I'm confident there is some value there somewhere. And I think it would likely cover this cost regardless, but
So the original $5,000 is where?
I would propose to pull it out of the Cambridge Business Park account.
Out of here.
Oh, out of that 19,899, okay.
And most of that, I think when I got on the board, it was 23 or 25. It came, or actually, it might have been more than that, because some of the re-permitting of the lot 5 came from this account.
Mm.
But it's due for some replenishment.
Permitting at five above the drive?
Can't remember. I think if you look at like Google Earth, it starts to the right is 1, and then it goes to 5, is all the way to the
Around the
left.
pond is one.
Okay, gotcha. Seen the map at some point somewhere. I don't know.
Okay, so I guess there could be a motion in order to hire or engage Mumley Engineering to do the phase 1 site investigation for the business park residential expansion project for an amount not to exceed $5,000 taken out of the Cambridge Business Park account.
So moved.
Would there be a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Any other discussion?
No?
Okay. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. Motion carries. I will reach out to Mumley.
And this is the same organization you reached out to last fall?
Yes,
Okay.
they are familiar with the site. I mean, they've worked on the business park project. They've done other things in town. And
And you are personally willing to walk it with Woody and see about replenishing?
it's a long walk from my place, but.
No, but you're willing to take that on as an additional
Yeah,
select board duty?
him and I, we talked about this last year. It just didn't work out last fall. And it'd be better to do it when there's no leaves on the trees,
Yeah, yeah.
I think.
I
Be
agree.
able to see it.
You'd see it better, yeah.
Okay, thank you. We will move on to welcome signs. Same neck of the woods. No pun intended.
So sometime late this winter, the welcome sign on Route 104 coming into town. Really, I think damaged it.
You know why? It's because I weed whacked all of those, or cut all those trees and bushes in front of it.
All the
So you
protection
could
it had.
actually read the sign and then the wind took it out.
Yeah. So I took it to Great Big Graphics to look at having it repaired. And the repair versus replacement kind of in the same ballpark. As far as fiscally concerned, I only reached out to one other graphic design company just to try to get a temperature. This price was in the ballpark, and it is.
Great Big Graphics,
Great.
the initial, built those.
And what is that?
Yeah, they have all,
That sign behind you.
they have all the
What's that money you're talking?
1,500.
Oh.
So this 1,500 to replace the 104 sign.
Mhm.
3 or 4 years ago, maybe more, I lose track of time pretty easily, but we lost the welcome to Jeffersonville sign that as you go down Gristmill Hill. That has not been replaced.
Hmm.
The sign on the Notch Road, as you enter from Stowe,
Mhm.
is in similar poor shape. Not, obviously, it's not broken on the ground, but it raises the question.
But that's the one we couldn't even see, and Peter said, could somebody go cut that so we could at least see it last year?
That was the one that he took care of, yeah.
I
No,
think
this is
he was
in the
referring
notch.
to smug.
He
was
was, he was in the
Somebody
notch.
cut, somebody cut around that too.
I thought he meant the still side as well, yeah.
Yeah,
Peter
no,
did.
I mean, I drive by the one on 104 every
He
day.
did the
right?
104.
So I
Peter
just
was
said, you know
concerned.
what? I'll just do it. And I did it.
Yeah.
I asked somebody,
Larry did it?
I asked Peter
Yeah, I
to
think
find
it was
somebody
Larry.
to just volunteer to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if Larry did it or not.
All right, so this is the third sign, the Stowe sign,
Yeah,
well,
and
coming into.
as far as I know, I went by Johnson's earlier this week and that one looks okay, but I didn't get out and inspect it either.
Poke your finger through it.
I do hear semi-frequently about the one coming down Gristmill Hill being missing.
But that's the Jeff,
That's the Jeffersonville sign.
is that like the one that's right over here at the end of,
It's his twin, I think.
who put those in? Jeff?
I don't, Peter, I believe.
My guess is the Rotary did it.
Yeah, Peter mentions it. Peter Engelstad mentions it frequently.
Hmm.
I believe he did with his, I don't know which group he was a part of at the time,
Probably, I imagine Rotary.
Me
probably.
too. They're big on signs.
but it kept blowing over. It finally broke it. We removed the post and everything. And it was all in disrepair and nothing ever came of that, but welcome signs are, when they go missing, they are very, people call. And they
I don't
are,
know how long it took me to realize it wasn't there, but
For a
so
while.
one day I was like, how long's that not been there before?
yeah, so we have one missing currently with the Jeffersonville missing, and then the others are not far behind. I think is something I have a note to budget for next year, but I'm just there is a fan of the welcome signs. But
So if we got
$1,500.
4, would they give us a deal
Yeah.
instead of the, well, okay.
So I think they installed them all too, as part of their service last time, because
Maybe.
I inquired about replacing the business park sign. The one that's
Yeah.
leaning over, and that was a lot of money. And then we ended up, they did the sign on the town garage for Dana, they made that sign,
And they made the sign out front here
Yeah.
too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Made that sign, actually.
yeah, it looks just like the one behind Angela.
Oh,
I really like the sign, but I'm embarrassed to say I cannot place where the 104 was. That's,
It's just
Others
the
may.
4 or just after the pole.
well, don't be too embarrassed, because I can't
The
figure out
second
where the
pole.
108 one is
Between Dana's and the pole,
missing.
the sweet straightway.
There's a driveway, well, no, I just pulled over on the shoulder to
oh,
do it.
between Dana's and the other
The
pole.
other pole
Yeah.
by River Room.
There's a little berm that sits there on the river side.
Oh, okay,
You can see there's
Oh,
two
yes,
posts
just-
there with nothing on
that's
it.
where Jonathan used to live. Jonathan Hutchins just beyond this place.
So you just want us to know this and maybe budget for it next year?
I would like to figure out how we can replace the sign that's missing. And then I was gonna gauge the temperature on the Jeffersonville sign and then,
Well, can't the village of Jeffersonville buy their
That's-
own sign?
So I would, if anyone, I don't have any interest in replacing the Jeff sign.
that's one.
If anybody wants, they may reach out to Rotary. I suspect that it had to have been Rotary, that is my guess. And or, I'm sure the village is aware of that sign, or,
I assume I've never talked to them about it.
I would encourage, if anybody wants to do that, to be,
Yeah.
to do that for the village. I could go either way. I know we've just spent a bunch of money already tonight.
Yes.
Perhaps, I mean, how is the sign? Like, is it just it shambles, or did it split in half, or what?
It's split in half. There's two pieces and
Yeah.
it's not plywood, it's like that particle board.
Yeah, so it's not
So-
like you can even just like,
Yeah, and then it got wet when
Oh.
it split, so it kind of swelled and it's not great. My next thought is if welcome signs mean a lot to maybe there's an artist or something that can,
And it's this.
it's basically that, it's a little bit larger.
We had a spare one that was supposed to get put out on,
And
it's
on the green line.
oh, no, but it was supposed to get put on, it was intended for as what I was told, is, 108, coming out of Bakersfield, like in Fletcher. It was supposed to go there. This is what I was told.
Yeah.
But there was, like, they couldn't physically find a location suitable because there just wasn't a suitable spot from that approach to put it. And so that was, again, just what I was told, and then it sat in that basement or in the back room there forever.
You think it's still there?
No, it's
It's
being,
on the green line.
Oh,
they asked.
we
to
could
use
just
it.
take this one.
Hard no.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
It is only 1,500, but then if the other signs are all questionable, then
That's why I'm bringing it to your attention, is because we're gonna replace all of them in the next 1 to 2 years,
We're,
if we want them.
all right, here's just a little idea. We could maybe throw it out to some high school or whatever, scout guy, Eagle person, and say, you wanna build this sign for us? Has to look a lot like this,
Right.
right? I mean, we could make it a project. for the
I
community.
love that you just volunteered for that, Angela. That's such a great idea. I am so happy. Thank you very much.
Do it,
Okay.
find some sucker that'll do it.
Thank you.
All right.
All right,
I
Angela.
think that's a great idea. However, I am gonna state this, just for the record.
Mm.
It needs to be that. Because I am really big on consistency when we do something, not
Okay.
just as a town, but in general.
I can,
I think it needs, I mean.
I can
you
impress
could- There's letterhead,
Mhm.
it's all that.
No, I'm with you.
Everything too,
I hear your concern. Yep,
Just-
yep.
It doesn't even need to be an Eagle Scout. It could be what's the,
A Girl Scout.
or, yeah, that'd be a scout. They could be lots of different.
Be whoever you want it to be, Angela, okay?
Yeah, right, it will be. Could be me. You
I
don't
look
know.
forward to hearing back from you on how you make out with this, so, thank
See
you.
20 little 3-year-olds.
okay. Moving on, if there's nothing else on that
Do
one.
I have size? Can you help me with the size and stuff like that?
I can, I know, they still have it up there, I was waiting.
They might have the old proof, like what
They have
just-
all the old graphics, the digital, they don't have, and that's
Where is this place?
Brayton Johnson,
Okay,
next,
Across from the forget me not.
yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. It's,
we'll get a sign, don't
You
you?
can get there and back without a charge.
yeah,
Maybe. You know the owner.
I do?
Yep.
Who is it?
Hugh Albrecht.
Hugh Albright owns this business?
Yeah.
yeah.
So anyways, they could, yeah, and they're, I've dealt with them before for get Dana sign. I'm sure they probably have that proof that gives all the dimensions.
Yeah,
and
that
everything.
was what actually made them a little bit more competitive, because they didn't have to do the design,
Exactly.
so.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks,
Moving on to dog officer update discussion.
Dog issues are on the rise and
Okay.
have been for at least the last year, and anecdotally speaking, perhaps longer. Our current dog officer, Bill, is doing a good job, but he has limitations to his schedule with his farming and everything that goes with farming. I have been the one that has taken, I would say, a majority of the calls, and I have followed up on a majority of the calls in the last 12 months, which involves investigating all the way to, talking through disputes or whatever it may be. I need some relief. Dog officer is, not really something I'm too excited about, so. I'm not sure how we wanna. But I'm reaching out to you to see, looking at proceeding. We didn't budget for, obviously, for another dog officer. You know, I have spoken to Bill and, sometimes issues require a more prompt response than waiting till after chores. And I understand that, his family and farm comes first, but a lot of issues are arising and need, at least a phone call or somebody to talk to in the, reasonable amount of time. So I'm proposing that we look for either a deputy dog officer or something along those lines to be able to take the phone calls and be able to get a judiciary license so they can write fines and chase these numerous issues that are coming up.
Have you asked Bill, and do you think he would consider being a quote unquote deputy dog control officer and or, I mean, the nice thing about Bill, one of the services he offers is he has the facilities
Yeah.
to temporarily house the animal in the process.
Yeah.
Right, which is one of the things that led us to.
Bill's really good at de-escalation. He's
Yeah.
really, when he gets there, he's really good about everything. He really truly is. We just need, we need more availability.
Right. So do you think he would
Yes.
still continue in that,
Yep.
that capacity, have the place, be the receiver
Like
that,
the kennel.
basically, yeah. And
How I propose is like nothing would change, more or less, Bill.
just be one would be a primary.
Instead of talking to me all the time, you're gonna talk to
Yeah.
someone else. But
I think how I would suggest proposing this is, one, just verify, we would add a deputy dog control officer position.
Mhm.
Move Bill into that role.
Mhm.
And then, advertise immediately or soon thereof for a permanent dog control officer.
Right.
But in that, we would need to just kind of create an expectation of those roles and responsibilities of what that is.
Yeah. We do have a job description for the dog control officer.
Yeah.
But time and what we're expecting and how we're gonna compensate are really where
Right.
it gets confusing.
And here's the thing, like, I don't think when the state, and this is me suspecting or speculating, that 200 years ago, when Doug, or whatever this was, it was created and put on the towns. I mean, I think there was a lot more farmers, there were a lot of people who lived, worked, and were just here in town all the time.
Yeah.
This is not an easy job whatsoever, and the time demand to be available it takes a special individual to be able to just even be present for it. And I understand that there's a lot of people, and I've seen some of the posts online and stuff about this topic. Like, if the taxpayers wanna complain about lots of different, how much their taxes are going up, like, to have a full-time person dedicated to this is going to cost the taxpayers a lot of money. So there has to be a balance of those expectations of, hey, my neighbor's dog is out, you need to be here immediately, I've just called. Right? Or, I don't think we need to pay, $75,000 a year to have somebody just sit here so they can go let their neighbor's dog back in their house, right?
Yeah.
And it's all a balance, because if somebody's out here and gets bit by a dog, well, actually, that'd be a health officer thing,
Yeah.
but there's situations warrant different levels of response. And that's the hard thing to predict.
Yeah.
I would argue a lot of the responses are relatively minor in the grand scheme of things.
I would say 90% anecdotally are just a follow-up. The other 10%, however, takes up 90% of your time.
Yeah,
So it's, it's a hard balance because, it's peaks and valleys, you'll get 3 or 4 or 5 in a week or a weekend. And then you'll have a couple weeks where it's slow and it's, for issues and then you're like, okay,
Do you have a copy of the job description for the,
I do,
Dog
it's on the
control.
website as
it
well.
is, okay.
Um,
What about this, Eric? Do you all think that is this a good approach, creating a deputy position and trying to find?
I do, because I think if he's well versed in the kenneling of the dog, but can't actually go and retrieve them in a timely
And
fashion.
it's not to say that he couldn't, because if one is available and the other one's not, that might be beneficial to have.
Sure,
option,
sure,
he's really good in the evenings, like that's his.
sure, but he's a busy person
Yeah.
and he's not always
He's not,
attached to his phone, and
he
it might be hours before he got that.
doesn't
voice
carry a
message.
cell phone, he,
Right,
he goes in for lunch and he goes. in for
Landline,
dinner,
yeah.
and that's it.
I think it's a great. It would solve two problems. We still keep the kennel, but we have somebody who's maybe more able to be attached to their,
Available, yeah.
available for the calls. And how would you handle it? Like, the call comes here, how do you just zip that call right along?
Well, right now, we have an option for a dog control officer and that goes to me. So I would have that go to whoever,
Oh, okay.
and I wouldn't even have to,
Wouldn't even know they
I
called.
mean, the office,
Okay,
I mean. The office will definitely get calls on it, they always, I mean, not everybody waits for the fifth prompt or whatever. to
Right,
listen to
right,
all the
right.
Options, they just hit one for town clerk and then they call Donna or Jessica. and say-
but they can,
But they would be able to say, hey, this is the person.
Yep.
And
here's a number.
that doesn't require me leaving the office to chase whatever issue. Um,
That would sort of keep you out of it.
I would hope, my hope would be to completely stay out of
Right.
it unless there was a.
Until it escalates to that
Yeah.
level, yeah.
So I guess what I would suggest, and I'm not gonna recommend you do this, although you can add your input. What I would first offer is, would a select board member be willing to take a first crack at doing a job description for taking what we have currently and kind of breaking it up? And it would require getting input from Eric and maybe the town office, but to start to try to put it together and assemble it. Anybody willing to take that on? Well, basically to bring it back to another meeting to be like, yep, we agree to that.
Mm.
Do you think we had? I don't know if Jim Barlow would need to look at this or not. As long as, I mean, he's already looked
I'll
at
do it
this,
if
as long as all that
it's already
info is still there.
So back in 2021, when I was interim town administrator back then, Jim looked at this then. Doesn't mean something hasn't changed and we should have to look at it again, but he has taken a look at this at least in the last 5 years. But it is here.
I don't think it would change.
I don't believe so. It's-
No, I think it would be breaking up the buckets, but also including in the deputy's role would be to be the backup essentially. If the primary isn't available or whatever, I'm not sure how it would be worded, but.
So it's pretty simple as far as job descriptions are concerned,
That is good.
but, that's, you know,
Would anybody be able or willing to take a crack at that?
I will be busy making a sign.
On the level of priorities, I would say this one would be slightly higher than a sign.
Well, I don't really understand the job anymore, because the job description is there. Can you go up a little bit? Dog control officer, and then we do a duplicate that says deputy dog control officer, because they're gonna have pretty much the same duties.
Right.
But then we could just say, yeah, okay, I'll do it.
I'll send you the word version.
I'm gonna come and talk with you. Don't send me anything. It won't help. See you at 8.
Once you make your changes, get it to me, cause.
Not making any
That way it
changes.
keeps him out of it, so.
Here's another question for you,
I
Eric,
love it that you're.
on timeliness. I would like to advertise as soon as possible.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Do you think it warrants, do you think we need to have this in place in hand immediately? Or could we just say, hey, this is really the position you would be applying for, and we're also gonna have this other person who's gonna do this and be your backup?
I think the advertisement is sufficient. I think when we hire whoever,
Yes.
this needs to be in place, but. And that way they know their roles, and responsibilities and
I think it's important enough to put this out there as soon as possible.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
But it could be, yeah, it could be.
And could we get,
Simultaneously.
and Bill, is that the other guy's name?
Yeah.
And could we get Bill to come to that meeting and maybe be part of that interview? I think he
But
could.
I don't know if it,
I don't think it's.
he could probably,
It's not necessary. Okay.
I mean, they can also probably hook up outside of a select board meeting.
I would
just-
probably just say, hey, this is Bill, why don't you call him and talk to him, and
Okay. Okay.
he's on.
That's fine. If you think that's fine,
He
I'm,
did come here at the initial meeting way back when, I don't remember how many years ago that was now, but several,
but I just think it would be nice for the candidate to meet
for sure,
the deputy.
for sure.
All right.
What is Bill's last name?
Stiles,
Where does he live?
East Fairfield.
Oh, East Fairfield, I was saying Fletcher. Or maybe he's the dog control officer for Fletcher.
Maybe that's what it is. I've been to his place and definitely in Fairfield,
Yeah,
but maybe there's lines I'm not aware of, but
Mm-hmm.
he's out there that way somewhere.
Fairfax, Fairfield, Fletcher,
Yeah,
okay. Sounds good. Consent agenda. We have the minutes from March 17th regular meeting, and then the two special meetings, March 10th and March 24th. Also the warrants, couple of liquor and cannabis licenses, or is it just liquor?
just liquor and, yeah, just
One right away.
that way access permit.
Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Yes.
Do I have a second for that?
Seconded.
Discussion?
Yes. Donna is not on.
No, but I think Jessica was.
Well, I just, clarification on March 10th meeting minutes, I think,
Oh, sorry, that Donna.
yeah, this
Okay.
one, sorry.
No,
The highway department, she still had his Cody, that was handed to me. Just that clarification, and can someone, you said Jessica's on? Or Eric, somebody, can
You're
someone
still
explain to
sharing
me
here.
these? This section here, it says mostly is all this,
so this,
just to know what that is.
so this is a fund, and this is the rec board fund. So all these expenses came out of the rec board fund, and they are all for let's do lunch and ski passes.
Okay, all right.
So every
Where
tab,
it came out of.
every tab is a different fund.
I think you told me that before, but I want to know what that one meant.
Yeah, so if you take the clip off.
Yeah.
You'll see what fund it is.
Oh,
You
okay.
can see better.
Thank you. That's all I needed.
Yep.
I'm good with the rest of my questions. I've got my answers.
Any further discussion?
About the consent agenda?
The consent agenda, right? We did move to secondary, right?
Well,
I moved,
he moved it, but I don't think it got seconded.
I did think, because when he asked about discussion, I moved it.
I don't remember. Angela, you second?
Yeah, I thought Angela.
I thought Angela.
Oh, maybe
Oh.
I did. I'm sorry.
I don't remember either.
I'm sorry. I did. I think I did.
Um. Any further discussion? All those in favor of approving the consent agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed. Abstained. Carries. Other business, coin drop.
The Second Congregational Church is applying for their annual coin drop permit. And as part of that permit, they need permission from the select board to do so. V-Trans requires that. So I wanted to get a motion for approval,
Cambridge Village.
Cambridge Village location in June.
So moved.
Is there a second to that motion?
Sure.
Oh, yes, yes. Any further discussion on this? I mean, these are, this will be a few of these in the year. I think the basketball usually does one.
In October,
Yeah,
and then it's the church does one in June.
and it's really, I mean, they do it in the same spot as I'm sure you've probably driven through them before, and it's just really more of a checkbox for applying to V-Trans.
Mhm.
Cause they have the ultimate approvers for it, so.
And the state police have to sign off on it.
Um. There's no other discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Opposed, abstained. Motion carries. Agenda for next time. We have a piece of paper.
Bring it up.
Yeah, no, I got it. Well, you can, yes, if you want to, but I got it.
Oh, it's just as full as this was.
I knew we were gonna pay for it last fall. So. Do it.
we in a pause.
Oh, yeah,
No.
it will be so. Okay, so yes, Crush Nature Preserve, I had that. Consideration and approval of assignment of option. What, do we need to do I know this is kind of minor, do we need to do the easement prior to that other one? Or is that,
I will massage and I'll probably just. We're gonna need at least a half hour for the fresh preserve.
okay,
And I'll add all those items. In order, but right. The agenda's almost full and we haven't.
yeah, well, the only. Has Darren mentioned anything about the training?
Yeah, we're meeting, Thursday. At some point,
Okay.
Thursday.
Alright, that's fine. I sent him and you what Jim had, and
Yep.
I don't think. I got Darren's comments back, and Jim massaged them with as far as like how many days you had until you. Had to, if we had to. Way to sell the land or we wanted to revoke them, there's so many days,
So it's
and
good.
it sounded like Darren was okay with it, but then he's gotta get his. Board to sign off or whatever.
Tried to see if his first assistant and myself could sit down to discuss that yesterday, but that was not able to come to fruition, but I don't foresee any major issue in there.
Yeah, Jim seemed fine with it. We already approved. The previous select board already approved the use of the land to them.
Yeah.
So it'd be, as long as they were okay with the wording,
Verbiage and all.
then it would
Of the
be,
lease,
it would be a very, to me, it would be quick, unless they've got something to change.
Yeah.
To just be signing it. The community block grant thing, what's,
The grant that we applied for last year for the business park. April wants to apply for that grant this year. She wants to talk to the select board about it.
that was a municipal planning grant, a community block grant.
Yes, you're right. I wrote down what she. asked
Oh,
for. That's what she's asking for, that's what she said, I just don't wanna
no,
assume, yeah.
do you know anything about like when it's due or anything?
Well, and it's fall.
Okay. I'm gonna put a major question mark on that one. And I need to call Angela anyway, or Angela, I need to,
it's all right.
I need to call April anyways about the DRB subdivision stuff to make sure she was good with Jim, all the info Jim provided. And their meeting is 2 weeks, I think, 3 weeks. It's the Monday of our select.
Yeah,
board
the 20th.
So I wanna make sure they have everything they need. I haven't heard yet. So I will also ask her about this. Assuming whoever the liaison to the planning commission doesn't mind.
That's you.
Hey, you don't mind.
No.
Okay. Okay, cause if it's not for the fall, we got a lot of other stuff. And we've already talked about it at least once, if I recall. Q1 financials, that's important.
So rather than me drone on for 30 minutes about the budget, I'm gonna try sending it out. And then everybody review, and then we'll just do a Q&A,
Yes,
cause I feel like I just talked for 30 minutes and
no, I'm good with that.
I talk so fast that nobody
And
really.
then we lose you.
Oh,
What'd you say?
we'd like to hear you.
And, yeah. If it needs to be earlier in the meeting, that's helpful for Donna and or Jessica. I feel like that's important and we can do that if that's better for them.
Financial review.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So whatever, if that's more helpful for them.
Yeah.
But the other folks can wait. Is Laird prepared for the Greenway project thing? I know we kind of tentatively put it on this meeting.
So Laird's portion, he's prepared. The holdup is the road crossings at 108. And that's kind of everyone's portion, and I don't know if you've heard, but V-Trans had 62 layoffs last month.
Sure, but 48 of them are unfilled positions or something.
Conveniently, two of the people I was working with
Not really.
were let go, so. Progress has kind of went to a halt on that one. So, and Steven Stanley, I don't know if you remember him, but he was one of them as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The public funds thing, I'm still waiting for April Tuck on that one. She told me she was going to get back to me on that one, so that's something I would like to do this year, but it's really not a priority, so that can be later, and I know you didn't have it on your list, but
I had it on this agenda, but I didn't hear
yeah,
it, so I
no,
took
it's
it off.
not big of a deal. Did the road declassification kind of get, is that still a thing?
I asked him when he was here and it's fizzled out.
Okay, it's fine.
Who's the him?
Tyler Wren was here.
Oh, that was him?
He owns Notchview. The properties on Notchview.
Yeah, he bought Sally's.
Yes, exactly. And then the other,
That guy with the boots on was him?
Yeah, it stayed here.
Oh, wow.
Stayed here for long.
Okay,
Sorry, didn't know who he was.
anything, I can't think of his name, I was struggling, I knew who he was,
Is it Tyler?
yeah.
Yeah.
You did know who he was?
I knew who he was, I couldn't think of his name,
Oh,
cause he's on the fire department, right, or used to be,
It's someone, I guess.
so. Okay, anything else for agendas? I'm sure something else will come up, but we can, that's plenty for now. Moving on to, where's this my agenda? Alright, so we could. I need a motion to move into executive session to talk about possible employee appointment and evaluation of employees.
So moved.
Is there a second,
Second.
discussion.
Yes,
In there.
Well,
discussion,
there's another item that should be in the executive session.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
and I'm gonna bring Eric and if Jessica wants to come in for the first part, as well. You okay, dude?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
just taking a little signing stuff.
If there's no other discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Opposed, abstained. Going to executive session at 8:51.